Okay, we have some folks trickling in. We'll give it a minute or two here. Welcome everybody to Kilachand's Student Spotlight today. We'll give it one more minute and we will then get started with our conversation here. Thank you everyone for joining us. Okay, looks like we got, as soon as I said that, someone just dropped in and that was great. That's amazing. All right, folks, so we will go ahead and get ourselves rolling here. Thanks so much for everyone for being in attendance. Thank you so much for our student contributors today. Thank you so much for our faculty and staff members who are here with us. Welcome to Kilachand Honors College. Welcome to Boston University online, as it once was in our LFA former status, but here we are now. We'll be happy to welcome you all throughout the summer and then into the coming year. And congratulations again on your admittance to Boston University and to Kilachand Honors College. My name is Eric Lopez. I'm an Assistant Director of Student Leadership. I'm here to kind of lead and pull some strings here in the background behind the curtain as we go along here and ask our wonderful students here more about themselves today. So I would love to just, really offer up the floor to you all. You can ask questions through the Q&A, and you're more than welcome to start submitting those right now so that we can keep on those questions rolling as we continue the conversation. So I would love to just kind of switch us to our students, and then we'll have our staff and our faculty introduce themselves as well. And then after that, we'll actually let you all introduce yourselves very briefly if you'd like to, via the Q&A box if you'd like to as well. So I have in order right now, I have Emma, Jackson, Cazette, and Jesse. So I'd like to go in that order for our introductions. So Emma, if you'd like to just briefly introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Emma Dominguez. I'm a first year at the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm a history major, a public health minor, and on the pre-health track. And I'm originally from Guatemala, but I have lived in Miami for the past 7 years. And one of my favorite things about Kilachand is really the living and learning community. This first year at BU has been incredible because of the friends that I made through living in Kilachand and just on all the activities that I have gone through because of Kilachand. So yeah, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Emma. Hand it off to Jackson.
Hello everyone, I'm Jackson. Use he, him pronouns. I'm majoring in physics and math in the College of Arts and Sciences. I am local to Massachusetts. I'm originally from Sudbury, Massachusetts. And I was also going to share that something I found valuable about Kilachand was the friends that I made, but I'm going to try to be original and I'll spin off with something else and I'll go with the research opportunities that I have found through Kilachand, which I would love to talk more about later as well.
Thank you so much, Jackson. So I'll go to Cazette.
Hi everyone, I'm Cosette. I'm a sophomore majoring in political science. I'm from Nacogdoches, Texas, and something that I like about Kilachand is the supportive environment, especially how you are able to meet more people in like a smaller setting than the very large Boston University community. So,
thank you, Cazette. And Jesse.
Hi everyone, I'm a second year here studying biochemistry and molecular biology with a minor in business administration and management. Personally, I was going to say living learning community as well, but to be original, like Jackson said, I also really like the first two seminars here. They provide a really global view of everything that doesn't really pertain to my major and gives me a more insight in the world and other topics I'm interested in.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you to all 4 of our students. Please, as you hear their majors, hear the programs they're involved in, hear the things they're interested in, please keep that in mind and send us any Q&A questions as you see fit. So now I'd love to hand it on to faculty and staff that are here, introduce ourselves. I'm Eric Lopez from Los Angeles, California. I've been at Kilachand now for 4 years, and I am an assistant director of student leadership and experiential learning, as well as an academic advisor as part of my role here at Kilachand. So I'll hand it off to Kyle and then to Amy.
Thanks, Eric. Yes, my name is Kyle Caponia. I am the first year academic advisor here in Kilachand. I've been here, I've been at BU for 3 years, but I just started at Kilachand this past January. And I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And what I really love about Kilachand so far is the great conversations and the advising sessions I've had, just one-on-one and group advising with the students so far. Our students are amazing.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Hand it off to Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Fish. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and this is my 3rd year at Kilachand. I'm a postdoctoral fellow, so I pursue my research, and I also teach. I teach the first year studio and kind of a variety of courses through the KHC curriculum. So one of my favorite things about KHC is just the kind of warmth that students have with each other. It's just like a good atmosphere in the classroom. Also always ready to jump in conversation with each other and kind of have that basic level of trust with each other to take the conversation into like an honest place and really support each other.
Thank you so much, Amy. Really appreciate it. And I did not share what my favorite thing is about Kilachand, not because I don't have one, but because I forgot. And so I'd just love to share that, I think I echo what a lot of people have echoed here already, right? This community that is really full with a lot of really excited intellectual folk, at the same time, people who are down to earth and want to talk to you and share with you about a lot of these different topics and a lot of these different ideas they have. And I think that's one of the benefits of not only living in Kilachand Hall, but also just being in the community of thinkers and of change makers. So all that's to say, I will start us off and hand it off to Amy to talk with some of our students about our first year seminar and our studio courses to start off. But again, just a reminder that you can use the Q&A box at any time to shift our conversation, to ask deeper questions about what we're talking about, or even just to put your question out there. So again, I'll hand it off to Amy, but thank you so much, everybody, for being here today.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, I'd love to just hear, first of all, if you could just kind of remember when you were where the attendees are, the student attendees are now, and when you were kind of making the decision about where to put your name down for college, what put you over the line for BU and KHC, and kind of what do you think about that now? What really made the difference for you in making that decision?
I could jump in. I think for me it was the ability to major in history, but also follow my passion for STEM and the pre-health track. I don't think that was something that a lot of universities offer, and especially for me was KHC, and how that was not only available for me, but encouraged to kind of go further into this sort of interdisciplinary life and academic journey. So I think for me it was that, being able to join my passions and be encouraged by the institution.
I can go next. Personally, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'm from Billerica, Massachusetts, which is about half an hour away. And a big thing for me was staying local and staying connected to the community I was part of before. And with that was joining a new community. And personally, I didn't want to go to a super big school. Even so, BU is not the biggest, but I still think it's hard to know everyone. So Kilachand really offered that opportunity for me to be in a close, tight-knit community that was really supportive and gave me like all the loving and caring feelings I wanted. And yeah, it was great.
I love how different those answers are. It's like a different story for everybody. I wonder, Jackson, if you might jump in and just think about when you were, since you're a senior now and about to leave us, like what do you remember from the first year and kind of starting the KHC experience?
Yeah, gosh, to reflect back on it a little bit, I think one thing that stands out to me is just how much from that first year I still carry with me. So for instance, we take courses that first year. There's a writing studio and then a seminar that has kind of a specific focus. And there are still things that I learned in my seminar courses that I reflect on a pretty frequent basis. So for instance, one course that I took but spring of my first year was about the culture of World War I. So talking a bit about the basic historical facts of the First World War, but then also going into the art and music and poetry of the time. And you might wonder how World War I is relevant today, but it was actually a really interesting look at how these huge global events kind of impact our society and how we remember those events. And so that's got relevance to, I think, any time period. So yeah, I guess to sum up, sorry, I'm rambling a bit, but the thing about the first year that I really take away is just that it's stuff that you will find important really for any point in your life.
Thanks. Well, let's stick to the topic of first year seminars. Does anyone else want to touch on what they remember, or Emma, what you have been doing this year? Tell us a little bit about your seminar and what you individually have worked on in it.
Yeah, so I really like my two first year seminars. I think I took one on the ethics of biomedicine, and I'm currently taking one that is about reforming the US healthcare system. And they are both in areas that I probably would not have taken classes with. One of them is a question course, the other one is a philosophy course. And with a packed schedule, I probably would not have delved into those if it was not for Kilachand. And I think that what I really liked about the seminar experience is that it's a class of 10 to 14 people that you see twice a week. And you actually get to have conversations and discussions of what you're learning. And you get to engage with the material in a deeper way that you would do in a lecture hall with 100 or 200 students. For me, I think what I'm taking from those seminars is I was able to pinpoint where my passion for humanities and medicine connect. And now I'm actually pursuing a public health minor because of what I've learned in those past two seminars. So I think they're they're a really great experience.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Do you have a final paper for your spring seminar? If so, could you tell us what you're writing about?
Yeah, so our spring seminar is about reforming the healthcare system. So we are just writing a paper on, after doing a lot of research this past semester, what do we think is the best approach to reforming our current healthcare system based on our knowledge now in different global like healthcare systems from different countries, and just discussions we've had in class. So I'm very excited. Hopefully we'll have that done in a week or so. So yeah.
Thanks. Jesse, I think you mentioned first year seminar as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yours?
Yeah, so similar to Emma, I got the chance to really learn about interdisciplinary items that I wouldn't have the chance to learn otherwise. I took one for my first semester. I took a class called Animals Among Humans, and it was really discussing the one question: are humans animals? And we dove through a bunch of different articles and journeys and even movies to just learn more about what it means to be human, what it means to be an animal, and we really had a final thesis about it. And yeah. But for my spring, I also had a poetry class, which is completely different from STEM in any sort of way. It really got a chance to let me flex my creative muscles and just write more, because as a STEM major, I don't always have the chance to write about stuff I want to or the time. So it was a great opportunity to really keep intact with those skills and learn more and develop them.
That's great. So every student in the first year takes these first year seminars that are kind of offered on a number of different topics, and then you also have your studio course, which is the two semester sequence on writing and research that fulfills your your writing course requirements for BU, and we kind of explore around the common theme each year. So could any of you touch on the studio experience, kind of what you remember from coming into the first semester, what you worked on the most in your writing and your research?
I could talk a bit about what I did for my studios. So the overall theme for our the second semester, which more focuses on research, was about incarceration, the carceral state, and so we had, we used a pretty wide amount of sources to discuss that. Everything from articles to we watched a very interesting documentary about capital punishment, and everybody in that class ends up writing a research paper, and so I chose to focus on a slightly related topic, which is about surveillance and the use of that for criminal investigations and how that relates to the Fourth Amendment. And so that has absolutely nothing to do with what I study most of the time, which is physics and math. But I was really able to dive into it and approach it from a lot of different angles, and it was quite rewarding.
Yeah, thanks. Anyone else want to add? It's a little bit fresher for you, but Jackson, you still have a perfect memory of the first year.
I can go next. So the first semester for our writing seminar, we focused on power, protest, and politics. And then second semester was also on incarceration, like Jackson talked about. But my major is actually political science. So I really enjoyed the two sequences and topics, learning more about writing, but also being able to encompass like the things I want to do with my major and in my career. And I want to do immigration and human rights law. So kind of learning how to write and research more about these topics was really helpful for me during the first year.
I could comment on what we're doing this year in studio. We had the topic of resilience and recovery for the first semester. And right now we're also kind of keeping that topic, but also looking at bodies in public, so specifically the HIV epidemic and also the refugee crisis. And right now I'm doing my research project as well. And it had to do a lot with resilience and recovery, especially for a community I'm part of, the Latino community in the United States. That was what my research was on. And I think what studio really helped me was finding my own voice and making sure that I can put my background and my identity in my writing and not being apologetic about it. So I think the studio class was really helpful for that.
Thank you. Yeah, so we had a question about just clarifying the difference between the first year seminar and the first year studio. So, and I can answer it, but maybe one of you has a better way to kind of describe how they fit together in your own experience.
Yeah, for sure. So there are two different classes. One of them is a 4-credit, one of them is a 2-credit. So one of them meets twice a week, one of them only meets once a week. Your studio class really focuses on writing as a whole, and your whole year, class year, you all have the same topics really. So really it provides a class that fosters a conversation in class, but also outside of class as well. So our year, it was about the Black Lives Matter movement. It was something that I personally did not know enough about. So it was the perfect topic to learn more about, especially in the social climate. And our seminar classes dive more into our personal interests. So like I mentioned, the class about animals among humans and poetry.
Thanks. So one of the things I love about teaching these first year classes is I'll have like whole suites of, I'll have roommates in the same class, or maybe I'll have like 2 roommates in the fall and then a different roommate in the spring, and they can collaborate and kind of bounce ideas. When we were on Zoom, you could sometimes like see them bouncing ideas about the class, like even through the camera in the room. So, and I wonder if we had a question about roommates. So I just wanted to touch on, we do, a lot of you mentioned the living learning community. All the first years kind of live together next year, it's going to be a little bit different because of the construction. So, but we'll still have first years grouped together, either in Kilachand or down the block. But could you just touch on like what happens after your first year? How do you decide where to live? Do you stick with KHC people?
Yeah, I guess I can probably chart out the the most dynamic path here. So yeah, of course, in my first year, I was in Kilachand. I was on the 3rd floor. And then for my sophomore year, I chose to stay in the building, and I think that's pretty common. At least most of the people that I was friends with chose to do that. I was like exactly 2 floors up from my previous room because I really liked the layout of my room, and I wanted to keep that as close as possible. Because every room in the building is different, I swear. And then after that, I ended up being a resident assistant, and I was in a different part of the campus, and I'm still in that part of the campus. So, and I think that's also somewhat common that a lot of students in their junior and senior year tend to gravitate more towards off-campus housing or apartment-style housing that's on campus.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jesse.
I'll add on to that. What Jackson said is pretty typical. That's almost exactly what I'm doing. I just want to add on the fact that a lot of my friends are doing the similar things. So I'm within like the same community I was the first year. And if not, like they're all like within a block or 2 away. Next year is similar situation. All of my friends are gonna be living to a different on-campus apartment, one with their apartment plan, so we can have a kitchen and stuff like that. So you really like keep these connections throughout your years, and it's really fun just like to be with your friends all the time.
I was just with a group of seniors in class today, and they were talking about how many of them still live with their roommates that they were usually randomly assigned in their first year, which is great. So we'll talk about more about life at KHC, and for that, I'm going to pass the mic to Kyle.
Thank you, Amy. Excuse me. Yeah, so life at Kilachand. I would love it if whoever wants to jump in could tell me like, what does a typical day look like for you? And how do Kilachand and Kilachand Hall fit into that mix?
So I could start off. It really depends if it's Wednesday, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday and Thursdays. But I feel like every time, like I have classes usually early in the morning, but what really, in the way that I know that Kilachand is part of my everyday life, is that I go back to the dorm and my roommates are there, and we go and have lunch together and kind of debrief the first half of the morning, and then I get to go in my afternoon classes, go to the studio and see some of my friends in the studio classes or seminar classes and have dinner with them. So I think that it just kind of becomes your own small community in this very large campus, and it makes everything less daunting, especially in your first year.
Yeah, I really I agree with what you said about, I mean, it is a huge campus, but you do get a smaller community feel within the college, which is, you know, so important because you kind of get the best of both worlds, so to speak. So. Off of that, I also, there was a question, when do students typically start internships? So for students who have done internships so far, I'd love to hear from any of you.
Yeah, so the word internship is really flexible in my opinion. It doesn't have to be like exactly an internship. It's just what you do over the summer or something that you're really interested in. Like personally, I work in a lab on the medical campus at BU, and that is part of my daily schedule. I have to travel from there to there. But I started working there around the fall of this second year, just because of COVID, and like it was the lab that I wanted to do, so I wait a little bit. And that's why I really balanced my schedule. On top of that, I also applied for internship over the summer of during the COVID year, but it was all remote online. So I stayed. I stayed to do like stuff I really wanted to do and just really learn about myself that summer and do a little bit of traveling and stuff like that. But typically, a Kilachand student doesn't really have exactly a time where they start their internships. It's basically whenever you're ready and you want to incorporate it into your life. And every major has a different type of schedule. Like a lot of STEM majors, they work during the semester as well as during the summer as well. Other people might have different schedules. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of a similar angle to Jesse. I haven't done like an internship with a private business or anything, but I have also done research in a lab here at BU. And so I started that the spring semester of my sophomore year, which is great timing because we all went home because of the pandemic. And I've been working actually with the same group for a couple of years now. And at least I think for a lot of STEM students in Kilachand, that's fairly common of a timeline. But I would agree with the overall answer of kind of when you want to start doing an internship is kind of up to you. I mean, it's going to be a question of for yourself about the balance of time that you have, and of course, how proactive you are at reaching out and looking for those opportunities. But there certainly are plenty of those kinds of opportunities out there that are, waiting for you to go at them.
And Jackson, is the group that you've been working with for the past few years, is that a math-related group or physics?
Yeah, so this is physics. So I approached a professor that I had seen give a talk about her research, and I spoke with her a few times, and then she agreed to let me join her group. And so I kind of started out by not doing a whole lot that was very essential. You kind of learning the ropes, but after a couple of years, it's much more instrumental work. But then, of course, there are going to be people in situations where they might work with a variety of different groups or do multiple different internships. So that's the really dynamic thing about Kilachand, I think, is that everyone's doing something that's quite different from everyone else. So there's a lot of different experiences, but like I said, generally, I think the process is going to be that people typically find what they want to do, without too much difficulty.
Yeah, and that's great. Your example of, you spoke to a professor and you expressed interest in working with them, because I know a lot of my advisees have asked, how do I go about making that connection, or just helping or finding research opportunities with professors. And it really is just, starting to talk to them, like go to their office hours, and starting to form a connection and relationship. So that's great. I would love to then kind of, especially right now, it's always important, but I'd love to hear, how do you stay balanced with everything you integrate? You're in KHC and you have your homeschools, you might have a minor, you might have work, you might, you have a lot of different interests. So, would love to hear how you stay balanced with everything, and, what does balance mean to you?
I think that what was very, I had to get used to it, was coming from maybe high school and having a place to go to school and then going home and having that kind of break in between. Like in college, you are going to school close to where you're going home. And I think that making sure that you put boundaries, that obviously your academic life is important, but also your social life and any other extracurriculars, and making the time for all of them. I think for me, when I started to find more balance was when I could go back and volunteer. I made sure that I got to know Boston, and now this semester I actually started volunteering again, like early in the morning, and then I have my classes, and then I get to hang out with my friends for dinner or lunch. And it really depends on what balance means to you. I think that's a personal thing, but making sure that you're putting the time for each of them and that none of them are more important than the other. Because at the end, it's to make sure that you are okay and that you're feeling good with what you're doing throughout the day. So
that's great. Where are you volunteering?
oh, I'm volunteering at St. Francis House in the kitchen. So yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, I can also add on top of that. I do a good amount on campus and off campus. So I mentioned my position as a assistant researcher at the lab. But on top of that, I have obviously my classes, and I have one club that I put a lot of time into as an e-board member. So these three things take up a good amount of my time, and I also personally love to do photography. So I started like a little business around that, and we're running it, trying to expand it. So these four things are part of the biggest things in my life right now. And it's about quality, in my opinion. So I do these things and put a lot of work into it. But on the side, I make sure I balance enough time, especially on the weekends. Like I basically take Saturday almost completely off. I don't touch homework if I don't have to. I don't touch anything related to schoolwork if I don't have to, or any business work. I just spend it with my friends. I go on a walk. I listen to music, and sometimes I even play video games when I have the time. So it's really about what you want to do in your free time. Even during the day, I have time to watch like an episode of Netflix, of like any show I want, basically at least 1 or 2 times a day. So yeah.
That's great. And this is another like very important question, especially when you're, going to school in a very new place. How have you made friends in college so far? I guess I'm especially looking at Emma just because this is your first year and you have made a lot of friends from what I hear. And I mean, I'm not surprised, you're a very friendly person. And our first advising conversation was delightful. But yeah, I would love to know, how do you go about making friends here? And I mean, it seems like a simple question, but it's so not easy to make friends really at any time in life. But how are you going about doing that here at BU?
Yeah, so I think for me, the first kind of group of friends that I encountered when I got to BU were my roommates. I'm living with like 2 of them next year, and I think that having that sort of little family here at BU, it's very important. But overall, just making friends with your peers in classes or going to the Kilachand teas or the study breaks and putting yourself out there within the Kilachand community, and just, everyone's in the same boat of trying to meet new people. So just having conversations with people you encounter around Kilachand Hall. But also, I think that doing the same thing around campus. Some of my closest friends that are not part of Kilachand, I met the first day of classes in one of my history courses, and we just kind of talked to each other and sat down, and that they became our assigned seats throughout the semester. And what's very interesting is that now that friend group, that it was just maybe 3 of us in the beginning, has grown, and there's people from Kilachand there too. So you just really see how the community is connected. But I do think that having the small Kilachand community does help you be comfortable enough to go out into the big BU community and meet new people and share your experience with others.
That's great, because I was also going to ask, how do you make friends outside of Kilachand as well, since you will be, yes, taking classes outside of there. So that's great.
Yeah.
Jesse or Cosette or Jackson, if you want to touch on that, love to hear about it.
I can touch on that. So like Emma said, you can meet lots of new friends in Kilachand. I remember my first semester seminar class, we would like me and a few of the other people that were in there would go eat lunch after class, and that's how I met some more people, especially when COVID was like very present and a lot of people were still online. And then another way you can meet people outside of Kilachand are through extracurriculars. Especially this year, I joined the women's water polo team because I did competitive swimming before, and I've made a lot of friends there outside of Kilachand, and some through my other more academic extracurriculars as well. So there's plenty of like different ways to meet people both in and outside of Kilachand.
Great. Water polo. I've never seen a game, but I would like to. Anyone else? Either Jackson or Jesse?
Yeah, I'll just add that I think that the nature of Kilachand means that it's like really easy to meet people kind of through just serendipity. Like one of my closest friends in Kilachand is someone who is randomly assigned as a roommate with, or another person who kind of I met as like a friend of a friend and like would bump into in the stairwell. So it's, just the nature of being in that building with a lot of like-minded people makes it pretty easy. And then of course, when it comes to friends outside of the program, kind of like people have said, I have a lot of friends in my majors, and so that's one way, or certainly through other things that happen on campus, like clubs and whatnot.
Great, thank you. So we have been, we've mentioned COVID-19 and, how that affected, everybody's, especially students' experiences. But I would like to ask you, like, how did COVID-19 restrictions affect you as students here? And what has been the change as restrictions and policies have changed? I think, some of you started during the beginning of the pandemic. Jesse, I remember you talking about that today to some other groups of students today. So would love to hear from you again about that.
Yeah. So obviously we were in the midst of the pandemic, really at the start, to be honest. So like we didn't even know if we were gonna go to college, and some of us like had gap years. It was a big question mark. But luckily BU came through and they had some of probably the leading like safety measures. And for me, that was really important because my parents were high risk and I didn't want to put them at risk since they were so close to me and so like important to me. And it was really hard at first, but everyone got into a flow of it and it became something that's almost second nature. Right now, things are getting a lot better. Everyone's getting vaccinated and everyone's doing being safe, and it's becoming second nature to take those extra measures. So overall, COVID isn't the biggest defining factor of your college career. For me, it might have been bigger than you guys, but it won't have the same impact as it was for me. Luckily, a lot of things are going back to normal, like clubs are meeting in person. We basically have a lot of things back to normal for the most part. And honestly, I don't think it's something you should be super worried about, other than the fact that just take some extra safety precautions and yeah.
Yeah, and that I was wondering maybe the difference between, coming from high school, going through that and then transitioning here. What's that been like?
So what I really enjoy about BU is that everyone clearly cares for each other here in the community. I think everyone's doing its part by testing, and when masks were, required everywhere, everyone's wearing masks. And even now when we have some masks requiring in the dining halls or in the library, you still see people wearing them. And I think that this respect for others and making sure that they're safe. So I think that was something that I really enjoyed coming at BU. And also I think that they've been doing a very good job at, just telling the students how things are going and making sure that everyone is informed with the things to come. And it has obviously been part of my first year of college, but just with how swift and how good BU has been about it, it has not been as impactful as it could have been if they would not have handled this the right way. So
great, thanks. Yeah, as a staff member, I was scared to come back, but that I was very soon alleviated when I found, or I realized, okay, yeah, we're gonna get tested every week, and it was being taken seriously because before I came back, I was hearing about all these schools closing, and I was very skeptical, but yeah, I felt very safe here, and I appreciated being at a research institute that took our health into consideration. So yeah. So yeah, I think I'll turn it over to Eric now to talk about experiential learning or to ask students about that. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much, everybody, so far. And we got about 20 minutes left on our clock. So please, if you feel that need to send in a question, and I got one right in front of me just now. So that just happened. So I'll go ahead and integrate that into our questions here for today. I would like to, though, start about what Kyle mentioned, which is experiential learning. And I think one of the things I want to highlight about that here is just that these are opportunities for our students to really get into not just our community at BU, but get into the city of Boston itself as well. So there's lots of ways in which we do that. And I'd love for, maybe Kazette and Jackson to kind of be the point people here a little bit. Kazette, I'm going to actually, Kazette is wonderfully in my Hub CC 282. It's our Beams course. And I'd love if you can maybe share a little bit about that course and, how it's maybe helped you this semester, or even just your reflections on what it means to be in an experiential learning experience like Beam. So you can tell them a little bit about it and kind of what you do, and then kind of go into your thoughts of the program, if that's okay.
Yeah, so I'm in Beams, and basically it's myself and a few other Kilachand students, mostly other sophomores that I know. And basically what we're doing or what we've been doing in the class is, first we kind of dove more into like learning about, how to teach and how to teach students who may or may not have the same background or experiences that we did. And then we started transitioning into creating public health lessons for high school students in the Boston area that were interested in potentially the medical field, or just learning more about public health and careers in that. And I really wanted to do the program because, for multiple reasons, but one of the reasons is because no one really talked to me or like the people in where I lived about these topics. And I also just wanted to help students who may have had similar backgrounds to me, though obviously being in a different area, learn more about these careers. And I really enjoyed the experience so far. I really like teaching, even though that's not what the field I specifically want to go into. It's been really fun learning more about, teaching people who are really close but still younger than me, and learning from them also while teaching. So, yeah.
Thanks, Kazette. Yeah, I mean, it's been super fun. I mean, I've learned so much from you all about, what it is to be a young person in those high school classrooms learning about public health, or, one of the things that you and Cosette, I think we agreed on was like, I never had a lesson like this in school. Like I never really could have ever imagined a lesson being taught like this in a school. And I think that was the key point of what we do there is we're not trying to be the best teacher, the greatest teacher in the world. We're just trying to inform and keep people educated, and also have fun and enjoy that experience too. That's great. But then also I'd like to then maybe position us again, zoom in on the senior year and that research opportunity. And that one we'd like to highlight is Jackson, who has an April 30th showtime date for his Keystone presentation. How you feeling? How you feeling on that front right now, Kid Jackson?
It's very exciting. So the seniors in Kilachand, we do a full year project on kind of whatever we want. Some people will go very freeform with it, and some people, like myself, will go through their major to write a senior thesis, which so that's what I've been working on. And then I'll also have turning that into a poster, which I'll be presenting to the senior class and their assorted friends and family next Saturday. And so that's undergoing revision right now, and I'm actually I'm in Dr. Fish's class right now. We've been working on our presentations and working on our pitches, and I need to write up a little script for myself. But the great thing about this is that it's probably not something that I would have done without Kilachand, because even though I'm doing research, this is specifically it's like for academic credit, and so I get 4 credits each semester for really diving in on this research and dedicating a significant amount of time to it. And so that, frees up my time, because it means I'm not taking really a full course load while I'm doing this. And it also really encourages me to dig into stuff that I might not have otherwise, and really appreciate the full nature of my research. And of course, it's really exciting to get to share that at the end of the year with everyone, and also see what everyone else has been up to. Because I mean, in comparison to what everyone else is doing, my stuff feels a little dry, because you've got people who like wrote their own scripts for TV show episode plots that they want to pitch, or people who are doing really exciting research in, say, public health, or really any discipline you can think of.
Jackson's being modest. His Keystone is pretty exciting and cool. And he's like able to say a little bit about where physics is going and where it's going to go in the next 2 years, with some of the experiments that are going to be done in quantum physics, and how he's kind of projecting and simulating with models what might happen there. So it's pretty cool, and he's a very effective teacher of it. One of the things we work on is being able to share specialized knowledge with super broad audiences, and he's also helping to plan the symposium event. So we're very excited about that.
Thank you so much, folks, and we really do appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about the Keystone, there's definitely resources online about that. And so we've got a couple of questions in the chat here. Do you think the construction is going to change the Kilachand experience a lot? Where will the Kilachand students eat? So it won't change necessarily. The construction won't change necessarily the living experience, considering we're closing some of those floors, and the floors we're keeping are those dedicated to the first year students. So that experience, we hope, is going to stay the same. But Emma, can you tell me, where do Kilachand students eat? Do they only go to the dining hall that's directly across the street from their dorm hall? Or tell me a little bit about where you all eat. Anyone else who can chime in on where you all go to eat, please.
So Marciano is definitely very close, and it's very convenient, but sometimes you want to change it up, and sometimes you go to Warren. But towards the middle of the semester, you might want to start, discovering Boston's restaurants and like the good food that we have in your campus. So I mean, there's always going to be a place to eat, and it could either be from BU, whether that be the dining halls, they are closed, they're good, or the GSU if you want to change it up a little bit. But I do think that what really matters at the end, and when you're planning to have dinner, is just being with your friends and being able to talk about your day and your week and how that's looking. So I think that no matter where it is, just as long as you're with a good company, it's always a good time.
I thought I was throwing a fun question out there. Where do you want to eat? I thought we were having fun here. Anyone else?
I'll bite.
Okay. All right,
yeah. So since we're talking about places that are really close to Kilachand, there's also the floor below the dining hall right across the street, Marciano. There's Bay State Underground, which is like a late night kind of food. I think they're open 9 to 12 most days of the week. And so that has kind of a little more of a restaurant kind of vibe. So they have, like, I think their main offerings are, they have burgers or quesadillas. There's a burrito option too, I think, and then it's more of like a sit-in kind of experience. And so that's a pretty neat area if you're looking for something that's a little different from dining hall fare, but not going out into Boston. But of course, you should also definitely do that, since you're in a large city with a lot of different exciting cuisines that you can go and experience. Kilachand is pretty close to the Back Bay area, which has a lot of nice restaurants. And then in the other direction, if you go further west along campus, there's a lot of really great Korean food out there. So you should definitely, if you have the opportunity and the time, you should definitely explore the city a little bit and visit some of those restaurants.
I have to agree with everyone else, to be honest. Like Marciano is definitely the easiest option, just to go across the street and get food. Late night has been honestly a savior because there's so many times where I work late or I'm away out and I have to get food at night and just, I have to eat something, right? And it's just open there for you and really convenient. I also like to go to GSU a lot. You'll learn what that is later on probably, but it's basically just a centralized location. A lot of people come study and get food. There's like little restaurants type thing that you can pay for with your dining points that you get as part of your dining plan. So yeah, that's basically what I mostly eat. And then next year I'll have a kitchen. So if anyone's interested in cooking, yeah, it's an option when you get older. Yeah, and I do have to go now. I'm part of a club called BU SACE, Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers, and we're churning butter today, so I have to help set up a little bit for that. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and I'm gonna drop my email in the chat in case anyone has any questions, specifically regarding STEM or anything else at all. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. We'll see you later. Thanks so much for
See
joining
ya.
us today.
Of course.
Have fun churning that butter. Churn that
Yeah.
butter. The real
Thanks.
laborious process, I promise you.
Thank you.
Because since we've now gone through everyone's favorite foods, basically, could you tell us maybe a little bit more about you, maybe where you like to eat or where you like going?
Well, I mostly do eat on campus because then I don't have to pay for it. So when I'm not in Marciano, I also go to the GSU, or when I have water polo practice, which it runs pretty late and the dining hall closes, I go to like late night and Bay State. But there's definitely a lot of good restaurants when I have more money in Boston. They have a lot of good noodle places, and there's really good Thai places that are really kind of close to campus also. So those are good to try as well.
The life of an athlete, I do not miss getting to the dining hall last and getting the last of everything. That is not the most fun, enjoyable experience of a dining hall. So we've got about 7 minutes left, and we could talk more about Keystone. We could talk more about life at Kilachand, life at BU. I mean, if anyone has a Q&A question that they'd like to drop in, please feel free. But I guess maybe I'll leave maybe this open-ended question that I think that I always ask, I think most people about when I tour a college or when I visit on behalf of like a family member. I always ask people like, when did you decide your major, or have you not decided your major? Like, what happened there? How did that happen, or how is that happening for you right now? I'd love to open the floor to all three of you all. But yeah, how did you decide on your major? Have you decided? Tell us more.
So I guess it's probably the one with the most solidified major. So I'm very lucky. I knew what I wanted to do coming in. I knew that I wanted to do physics anyway. I actually was not initially a full math major. That was later because one of my roommates is a terrible influence on me, and he convinced me to take some math classes. And so that's how I wound up doing that. And so I stuck with it. I'll actually be going on to graduate school for physics. So, like I said, fortunate that I kind of had that path charted out the whole way. But, one thing to always keep in mind, I think they like to say this at the open houses, but like the largest major in the College of Arts and Sciences is undecided. So there's certainly plenty of people who take a little time to explore what's out there and don't maybe narrow things down so quickly.
Yeah, I think that for me, I always wanted to go into the medical field, but I also do have a love for history. And again, that was one of the reasons why I chose BU, because I could do both. But throughout this year, I do have changed my focus more into public health. So I think that is something that is normal. It's something that a lot of my friends are going through as well. There were a lot of undecided of my roommates that were undecided, and some of them that had a major in the beginning and then changed it up towards the spring semester. And it's just about understanding what you like and what you're gonna want to do in the future, and putting the hard work in it, and just going forward. So
yeah, so I already did decide my major before I got to BU. I'm majoring in political science because I did already know that I wanted to do human rights and immigration law. So I wanted a major that was more about politics, like policy theory, that kind of thing, and relations between countries. So I already was pretty decided on what I wanted to major in. I have not declared a minor yet, but as my language requirement right now, I'm studying Portuguese because I already knew Spanish. So I'm considering minoring in Portuguese and Brazilian studies. So you can definitely explore other interests when you're already at school, but I already had decided my major before coming into college.
Thank you, everybody. I mean, it's a process, right? Regardless if you've come in and known what you're doing, you've got to take those classes and got to hit the ground running and figure out if it's really for you. And it sounds like all of you are really figuring that out right now. Is these things that have fit really well, like a glove, or they still really fit? And hey, things change and things move around. So we did jump into another question that just disappeared from my screen, which was so fun. Can I do two majors along with Kilachand? Which two? Is the great question that we all have. Is really because there's lots of differences, right? And I think, Kyle, maybe you can answer this. What kind of conversations do you have with students about kind of making those choices around, like, hey, I want to try a bunch of things, or I want to try a lot like, a couple different majors, or a different, or Questrum. Kind of what do you hear about that, and what can you offer to the families and the students in the room here?
I say try everything. Like if you think you might be interested in business, like try a Questrum course if you are not already in there. And BU makes that possible. I mean, that you can take courses in several different schools without actually being a major, because that is what college is about. Because sometimes, I mean, as an undergrad, I had really no idea what I wanted to do, and I did a lot of tryouts with courses, and but it was great because I did eventually figure out what I wanted to do. So yeah, I'd say don't limit yourself. I mean, I think probably you'll probably know pretty quickly, taking a course, whether or not you want to continue with it. But yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of those questions with the registration advising for next semester. And I mean, students have a lot of different interests. And I think, I wouldn't recommend just adding the major or just going into the dual degree without first trying, at least one or two classes out. So, and I think Kilachand gives you the flexibility to do that. And we might even offer some seminars that also touch upon your interests. Like there are students who are not econ majors, but they're taking the housing policy seminar this semester, and it has sparked their interest in possibly doing an econ minor. So.
Thank you so much, Kyle. That was super informative and really helped us understand, I think, where we all are, right? When you enter these academies, right? It's to say, what are we trying out? What are we trying to figure out? What are we trying to see? So we are at time, magically, somehow fitting everything in to 1 hour. We have a couple of questions just sort of streaming in here. When do your first year students start registering for class? That would be June 1. June 1 is when you'll hear everything. So just to maybe sort of calm the fears, if you've already enrolled, you're not going to hear from BU for about 2 weeks after May 1. Just we got to do some graduation stuff. We got to let Jackson go enjoy himself. We got to let our postdocs celebrate our fellow students. And then around the third week of May, you'll hear back from a lot of our offices and people around the community. So I don't want to hold our students up any longer for the hour. So I do hope you can all share, everyone, if you can just share your emails into, perfect, thank you, Jackson. If you just share your email in the chat to everybody, that would be just really helpful as we move forward here. If you are interested in reaching out to anyone here today, But beyond that, and after that, we're just really grateful for your time and spending it with us for an hour here, wherever you are in the world. Thanks so much for joining us. Any final things from anyone here in the room? Amy, Kyle, Gazette, Jackson, Emma, anything we can share with these folks? Any last things?
The students pretty much said it.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you all. And I think just like one last little piece of advice is go with your heart, you know. That's kind of how I ended up making my decision is I came to campus and it felt right. So don't try not to stress about it too much and just follow what your soul's telling you.
What a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Emma, go ahead. Offer it up.
Sorry. Yeah, I think it's just about like how Jackson was saying, following what your God is telling you and make sure that you're enjoying the process and that you keep enjoying the process once you decide where to go and you have made that choice, because it's really a great time. And I really look back on a year ago with a lot of joy, and now that I'm looking forward to my second year here at BU. So
Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all. We'll let you all go. It's 8:02 now. You all are free to go. Thank you so much, and I'll end the call here. You can feel free to copy and paste the emails you see in the chat. Again, thanks so much, everyone, for being here with us today.